book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, lays the foundational narrative of the Judeo-Christian worldview. It is a rich tapestry of creation, human origins, and the establishment of God's covenant with humanity. Divided into 50 chapters, Genesis can be understood in two main parts: the primeval history, chapters 1 to 11, and the patriarchal history, chapters 12 to 50. Below is a detailed summary and analysis of its content. Primeval history, chapters 1 to 11. 1. Creation, Genesis 1 to 2. Genesis opens with two complementary accounts of creation. Genesis 1, 1 to 2, 3. The first account depicts God as a powerful creator who speaks the universe into existence over 6 days and rests on the seventh. The book of Genesis, God creates the heavens, the earth, and everything within it in an orderly sequence: light, sky, land, vegetation, celestial bodies, sea creatures, birds, land animals, and finally, humankind. Humans are created in God's image and given dominion over creation. This account emphasizes God's sovereignty, the goodness of creation, and the sanctity of the Sabbath. Genesis 2, 4, 25. The second account provides a more intimate depiction of creation, focusing on humanity's relationship with God and the earth. God forms Adam from the dust and breathes life into him, places him in the Garden of Eden, and creates Eve as a companion from Adam's rib. This narrative highlights human dependence on God and the sanctity of marriage. 2. The fall, Genesis 3. The idyllic harmony of Eden is disrupted by humanity's disobedience. The serpent deceives Eve into eating the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Adam also eats, and their eyes are opened to their nakedness, symbolizing lost innocence. As a result, sin and death enter the world. God pronounces curses: pain in childbirth for women, toil and labor for men, and enmity between humans and the serpent. Adam and Eve are expelled from Eden, separated from the tree of life, symbolizing humanity's alienation from God. 3. Cain and Abel, Genesis 4. The story of Cain and Abel introduces sibling rivalry and the spread of sin. Cain, a farmer, and Abel, a shepherd, offer sacrifices to God, but God favors Abel's offering. Out of jealousy, Cain murders Abel. When confronted by God, Cain is cursed to wander the earth, yet God places a mark on him to protect him from being killed. This narrative underscores human responsibility, the consequences of sin, and God's mercy even in judgment. 4. Genealogies and the spread of wickedness, Genesis 5, 6, 8. Genesis 5 records the genealogy from Adam to Noah, emphasizing the longevity of early humans and the continuity of God's plan despite human corruption. By Noah's time, humanity's wickedness has reached a breaking point, prompting God to plan a catastrophic flood as judgment. 5. The flood in Noah, Genesis 6, 9 to 9 per 29. The book of Genesis, Noah, a righteous man, finds favor with God. God instructs him to build an ark and bring his family and pairs of every animal aboard. A great flood destroys all life except those in the ark. After the flood subsides, Noah offers a sacrifice, and God establishes a covenant, symbolized by the rainbow, promising never to destroy the earth by flood again. This story highlights themes of judgment, salvation, and covenant. 6. The Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, 1 to 9. Humanity attempts to build a tower to reach heaven, reflecting pride and self-reliance. God confuses their language, causing them to scatter across the earth. This account explains the origin of diverse languages and nations and reinforces the theme of humanity's dependence on God. Patriarchal history, chapters 12 to 50, 1. The call of Abram, Genesis 12 to 14. God calls Abram, later Abraham, to leave his homeland and promises to make him a great nation, bless him, and bless all nations through him. Abram obeys, journeying to Canaan. Despite challenges, including a famine and conflicts, Abram demonstrates faith. This section introduces the Abrahamic covenant and God's redemptive plan through a chosen people. 2. The covenant with Abraham, Genesis 15 to 17. God reaffirms his promises to Abram in a covenant ceremony, promising descendants as numerous as the stars and land for his offspring. Abram's name is changed to Abraham and Sarai's to Sarah, signifying their roles in God's plan. The sign of the covenant is circumcision. This section emphasizes faith, God's promises, and the concept of covenant relationship. 3. The birth of Isaac and the testing of Abraham, Genesis 18 to 22. Abraham and Sarah miraculously have a son, Isaac, in their old age, fulfilling God's promise. God later tests Abraham's faith by commanding him to sacrifice Isaac. Abraham obeys, but God intervenes, providing a ram as a substitute. This episode foreshadows themes of substitutionary atonement and unwavering faith. Number 4. Isaac and Rebekah, Genesis 24-26. Isaac marries Rebekah, who becomes the mother of Esau and Jacob. These chapters recount Isaac's life, including God's reaffirmation of the covenant with him. Isaac's narrative highlights God's faithfulness across generations. 5. Jacob and Esau, Genesis 27-36. Jacob, the younger twin of Isaac and Rebekah, deceptively secures Esau's birthright and blessing. He flees to Haran, where he works for Laban, and marries Leah and Rachel. Jacob's life is marked by struggles, including wrestling with God, after which his name is changed to Israel. His 12 sons become the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. 6. Joseph and his brothers, Genesis 37-50. The final section focuses on Joseph, Jacob's favored son. Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery out of jealousy. In Egypt, Joseph rises to power due to his ability to interpret dreams. He saves Egypt and his family from famine, demonstrating God's providence. The book concludes with Joseph forgiving his brothers and reaffirming God's plan to use their actions for good. Jacob blesses his sons before dying, and Joseph dies, expressing faith in God's promise to bring Israel back to Canaan. Key themes in Genesis 1. Creation and divine sovereignty. Genesis establishes God as the creator and sustainer of all things, emphasizing his authority over the universe. Sin and its consequences. The narratives illustrate humanity's rebellion against God and the resulting separation and suffering. 3. Covenant and redemption. God's covenants with Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob reveal his plan to redeem humanity through a chosen people. 4. Faith and obedience. The lives of the patriarchs highlight the importance of faith, even amidst challenges and uncertainties. 5. God's providence. Despite human failures, God's purposes prevail, demonstrating his sovereignty and faithfulness. To summarize, the book of Genesis serves as a theological and historical prologue to the rest of the Bible. It explains the origins of the world, humanity, and God's covenant relationship with his people. Through its vivid narratives and profound themes, Genesis invites readers to reflect on God's character, human nature, and the unfolding story of redemption.